through storms, unshaken, unbowed. Through trials and verdicts, still standing proud. A titan in the tempest, against the raging crowd. He's got a vision for the future, gonna shout it loud. Changing the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built to last. Cryptocurrency's the key, make the big switch. Power to the people, time to teach the rich. Legal battles can't hold him, he's moving on. With plans so bold, from dusk till dawn. He's rewriting the rules, a new dawn's day. From the hands of the few to the people's way. Say good.
Oh, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Crazy Kryptonaut channel. I am Zester, and, well, we have definitely got a particularly interesting morning of news going on. I will absolutely go ahead and let everyone know. With everything Charlie related going on, I have been particularly distracted. I don't know if I'm alone in that one. I feel as if many folks out there are taking it quite personally, and I'm feeling that way. And so I will definitely say I've spent the past, well, how many hours has it been now? Since essentially since it happened, past 48 or so hours, glued to the news, glued to X. Really feeling as if I can't concentrate on much at all. I don't know whether I'm alone in that one or not, but I am and was very excited this morning to see that at least we can rest at least somewhat easier knowing that they have caught the guy. And so definitely gonna have a lot of questions over everything, but let's go to the good mornings and then we'll jump in. We're just going to talk about a little bit of everything today, guys. I'll answer crypto questions. I have a little bit of crypto news. I also have a little bit of Charlie related news that was just too interesting to me and such for me not to include. And so we'll be all over the place today. But good morning, TGIF for certain. Good morning, Mile High Trish. Thank you so much for everything. Good morning, Mary Jones. Good morning, Shannon. Good morning, Musical Lady. Musical Lady, we got him indeed. Absolutely. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, East Coast. East Coast Watchers Club. I saw in the news conference where they're saying they caught him, but didn't his family turn him in? Just saying, true. It does. They did say in the same exact message that his father brought him in. And it appears also that his father was a longtime sheriff. Yeah, Musical Lady, it's been 33 hours at least. Glued indeed. I cannot concentrate either. No, I have had the hardest time concentrating on anything work-related, anything related to anything, really outside of just glued to the screens, trying to figure out what's going on. Yes, definitely an important one. Never fun to have to read each time, but it ensures that the alphabet overlords don't get angry with us. Please do remember that the content in this podcast is for information and educational purposes and is not intended to provide any financial or medical advice or professional advice of any kind. Please consider everything discussed to be Zester's opinion only or the opinion of whoever else is currently talking at the moment. So definitely an important one. Thank you for making certain I get it. Musical Lady, I was deeply disappointed with my Red City spreading a celebration of hate. There are far too many accounts of that one going on right now, Musical Lady. Far too many accounts. I would definitely say, and I know Pops had talked about this one last night, and I had talked to him about it. Definitely something, guys, as all of this continues to go on, get the information. When you see those type of comments online and you see those things, take photos, take screenshots, compile it. We were looking to put together an email address for people to send that information into, so that we can send that information along to people who have large enough platforms to get something done. And so definitely, guys, there's not much we can do, in a moment of this nature, but that is something we can do to at least be a little productive in everything. It's just to document that information, send it into employers, to government, to everyone else, and ensure that if anything, at least our tax-paying dollars are not paying the salaries of people who are that despicably evil. Musically, I have the original Facebook post of it, actually. Yep, it is. Mary Jones, you are not alone, Zester. Of course, the subject is a sheriff. It appears that his father was a sheriff, and also here's one that I definitely. Okay, remember, guys, when we had a Discord room for the original Mark Z? Remember back when we had a Discord room? Remember what we got told we got shut down on Discord for? Wasn't it something about violent extremism? And that Discord did not approve of such things nor condone it? Well, quite the irony here today, in that the assassin actually worked and utilized Discord to work with his friends on the drop-off location for the rifle. And so Discord was actually the messaging application used in order to organize this assassination. And so Discord, which kicked us off because apparently we were a violent extremist group, well, they didn't kick this kid off, as he literally organized the assassination of a political figure. That in and of itself definitely shows where Discord as a company's political allegiance lies, for certain. Reno Hightower, sometimes it seems free speech is under attack. It needs to be respected for all, not for the few. Absolutely. Freedom of speech is not, it's not because it's for the things that you want to hear. It's for the things that you absolutely can't stand to hear. That is where freedom of speech becomes important. Oh, yeah. Well, hi, Trish. I want to understand more about the Discord room that was discussed on the news briefing this AM. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because Mary Jones, remember, Mary Jones, yes, this 71-year-old was called a violent extremist. Oh, that's a joke. Yeah, I remember that. We were targeted. We were violent extremists, but apparently this Discord group, you can literally just go around and do whatever. And it doesn't raise any flags or do anything wrong. Yeah. I'm well, though. I want to know whether there's not more, because it makes me feel as if Discord is probably filled with these types of groups that have been allowed to continue to organize and utilize the platform because Discord is entirely politically aligned with the extremist left. And so they're okay with it coming from their side. And they literally support it. I would be the same way. I think there needs to be a lot of research. There needs to be an investigation into Discord itself, because as we know, there is a clear bias going on over a Discord. You have a conservative group. Oh, yeah. No. Can't have that. Don't even say anything or do anything wrong, and they will get rid of you for being a conservative group. Musically, words have consequence. Take a time out before sending, because it can empower people to do irrational actions such as violence. Absolutely, musically. Absolutely. It's very easy to forget. It is very, very easy to forget how powerful our words are. And I know that I have definitely made that mistake throughout, my life as well, without noticing just how powerful words can be. And it's something that, especially in moments like this, we need to be extra careful, because we could be painting targets on ourselves or on innocent folks. And so definitely a time for double verifying and ensuring things are accurate. Good morning, Anthony. Good morning. Yep, targeted by Discord. Absolutely insane, especially to see that then this morning coming out in terms of this. And of course, the MSNBCs and CNNs, oh, no, can't go making any assumptions that it's violent left-wing extremism. Well, naturally, as soon as the facts start to come out, turns out it was true the entire time, with some pretty abhorrent things written on the shells as well. I know here, etchings included the phrases, notices, bulges, OWO, what's this? Hey, fascist, catch. Bea chow chow. If you read this, you are gay. LMAO. And so lots and lots of different internet slang in terms of that one, internet related jokes and things of that nature. And of course, yeah, definitely think the whole Antifa comment coming out from folks is going to turn out to be entirely accurate. And it really is. It's insane to see, because when you see the videos, you see the stuff from this kid just a matter of a year or so ago, it seems as if it is extremely obvious the degree to which our universities are indoctrinating and militarizing the youth, because it seems like not all that long ago that it was a pretty normal kid. Not all that long ago. But I'm certain we'll get more and more and more information. Now the dogs of the internet have got everything they need. They've got the scent. We're going to know everything in the coming weeks and days. Mile High Trish, none of those terms are even in my vocabulary. It's the only reason even some of these are things that you would see in like gaming communities in some ways. But yeah, they were like old school internet meme jokes. The other things, though, the hey fascist catch, that one kind of explains itself. Notices, bulges, what's this? All of that, I really do not know what all that is even in reference to. But I'm certain the internet sleuths are going to let us know very soon, or those that are a little bit better with the youth slang of today. My musical layer, they're targeting us for spreading truth. Yep. Oh. Absolutely. Hey, good morning there, Yukon. Good morning. All right, though. Let's jump in. And of course, we'll be talking a little bit about everything. I still can't drag my eyes away from it. But let's talk a little bit about the crypto news this morning, because we do have a little bit of interesting stuff. And we have an important term that I think everyone's going to need to have a little refresher on. An important economic term that's about to start coming up a lot, and we're going to be hearing a lot about it, and we're going to be hearing about it from politicians, economists, and everybody else. And so we're going to talk about that one in order to get a little bit of learning, maybe a little distraction from it all going on this morning. All right, overall markets, though. Overall markets are happier. Bitcoin up, sitting at 115,000. Ethereum 4,500. XRP $3.03. The big winner, though, at the moment is Doge. Doge sitting at 26 cents, up 23.3% over 7 days, 6.7% in the past 24 hours. And this was on account of the Doge ETF was set to actually go live yesterday. Now, it did end up being delayed. But, well, the Dogecoin price went up anyway. And so even though the ETF release actually ended up being delayed, it didn't change the fact that it seemed like there was still a lot of folks pretty bullish about the price of Doge. And so Doge continued to go up, even though the ETF itself was delayed. And so it still remained the big winner, all things considered. Even despite the delay, which was somewhat surprising. You would have expected with the delay to see a sell-off on account of it, but, well, it's Doge. It's not exactly based on logic. Not exactly based on logic. But, all right, something that I wanted to cover today, and it's in relation to the fact that the markets are up. Why are the markets up? And so, overall, what really went on is that we've gotten economic data that seems to have solidified or ensured that there's a far higher chance of a Fed rate cut coming in the approaching months. And so Bitcoin tops 116K, Ether gains as Fed rate cut bets firm up. A derivatives expert says soft inflation and weaker jobs data are steering the Fed towards growth support over price stability. And so essentially, what does this mean? Because it's a very, very odd occurrence. Essentially, we're seeing inflation, we're seeing weaker jobs data, and in and of itself, we shouldn't be, and according to the typical idea of inflation or deflation, we shouldn't be seeing increased inflation while we continue to see extremely weak job data. Ultimately, we should probably be seeing the amount of circulating dollars going down, but we're not. And so what this brings us to is a very, very scary economic term that I think we're going to be hearing a lot about in the coming months: stagflation. Crypto pundits retain bullish Bitcoin outlook as Fed rate cut hopes clash with stagflation fears. Key economic data released Thursday indicate that the U.S. economy may be on the brink of stagflation, a challenging mix of sluggish growth, a weakening labor market, and rising prices. Now, despite this, the overall cryptocurrency market seems to remain fairly bullish, but this stagflation concern is extremely important. Extremely important. And you're going to start hearing about it more and more and more because we really have a confluence of events occurring. We have got AI coming in and taking a lot of jobs. And so overall, we're seeing a weaker and weaker job market. We do still have the massive inflationary concerns of all the runaway spending. And so we're going to continue to see that general inflation. And we're going to continue to see weaker and weaker job reports, short of something massive changing. And so we're not really looking forward to a time anywhere soon where some of the key factors that are causing the stagflation are going to cease. We're actually looking at a potential increase in the overall influence that they will have. And so I had AI give us a little simplified breakdown of stagflation because I have a feeling that, it's going to be an important one. I mean, the last time we were hearing major stagflation concerns would have been back around 2008, 2009. At least that's when we were hearing about it the absolute most. We've had concerns multiple times, though, over the years when it comes down to it. And so let's go ahead and just go for our little breakdown that the AI gave us. I thought it did a pretty decent job on this one, but ironically, I think it actually did a better job when it didn't try to oversimplify it. And so, stagflation is a rare and troubling economic situation where a country experiences three problems at the same time. Stagnation, little or no economic growth, often with rising unemployment. Well, check. That's what we're seeing. We're not seeing large economic growth. We're seeing unemployment continue to rise. But we're also seeing inflation. Prices of goods and services continue to keep going up. And so we are also high unemployment. Many people are out of work and the numbers seem to just be increasing. So basically, we have got the stagnation, lack of economic growth, while also experiencing inflation. Smash the two words together, you get stagflation. Now, why is this so problematic? Well, normally inflation and unemployment move in opposite directions. Economy grows, prices rise, unemployment usually falls. Economy slows, prices usually stabilize or fall, but unemployment rises. With stagflation, you get the worst of both worlds at once. People lose their jobs, prices keep rising, people's money buys less, and fewer jobs are available. And this makes it extremely hard for governments to fix. And that is where this article really comes down to it in regards to a clash between stagflation and Fed rate cuts. It comes down to right here. Because the reason it's so difficult is if they raise interest rates to fight the inflation, that's going to slow down the economic growth. Now, if they stimulate the economy in order to create jobs, that is going to mean that they had to print a buttload of dollars, in which case it's going to end up affecting the inflation rate. And so essentially stagflation is a catch-22 of an economy. It's an extremely bad position to be stuck in because essentially the government can't get you out of it. The government can't fix the economic situation. Essentially, it's a matter of growth in time. And it was caused by poor economic decisions, but unfortunately, it's only going to be able to be solved by all the people who weren't the actual cause of it. And so, with this one of the most famous historical examples of massive stagflation would be like back in the 1970s in regards to the overall oil crisis. Oil prices spiked, everything became more expensive, and yet we saw slowed economic growth. And so, of course, bad policy mix, structural issues, and supply shocks. The 1970s being a very, very, very good example of stagflation in history to kind of look back on and see what occurred then. 1970s oil prices quadrupled on account of the OPEC oil embargo. This rose the price of gas, food, and goods. At the same time, unemployment rose and the economy stagnated. Inflation stayed high despite weak growth, creating years of stagflation. Stagflation is not something that is passing or short. It is something that is years and years, typically, for an economy to get back out of. Easy way to remember on this one. Think of stagflation as a sick economy with a fever and weakness at the same time. The fever is the high inflation, prices are burning up. The weakness is stagnant growth and unemployment. Normally, it's one or the other, but stagflation means we're experiencing both at the same time. And so I thought that one was an interesting, an important thing to just kind of go over because everyone's going to be hearing the term all the time. And ultimately, we're going to have a lot of talking heads up there that are all going to be presenting their solution to the stagflation issue. And ultimately, we just need to be aware that it is not an easy one. And yes, I see some of the comments already. Musical Lady, it is scary but exciting at the same time. Bipolar events for us. Absolutely, it is. It is a part of this major shift in terms of how the economic system is going to work. It's absolutely a part of it. In certain regards, I think it's a necessary part of the process. All right. Musical Lady, they're anticipating 3 rate cuts yet this year, which is a lot of cuts in a short period of time, it seems. Yep. Musical Lady, Andy has talked about and warned stagflation. Now we see it now in newsprint. Scary for sure. Well, at this point, there's really no longer an argument against stagflation. There was a general belief and hope that the Trump economic moves would start to result in some of these factors reversing. But ultimately, I think that no one really appreciated the degree to which the economy is already inherently shifting because of artificial intelligence, because of all of the major moves in terms of how things are going. We're already seeing a fundamental change to the labor market. And so I really think that as we know, Trump got set up in a very, very bad spot to start from. And essentially, essentially he got an extremely bad spot to start from. He was kind of screwed from the get-go on this one. And we're going to continue to see extremely struggling job markets. The labor market's going to struggle. It's not Trump's fault. It's not even directly correlated to overall jobs being in the United States. That's a part of it, and that's the reason that it's able to be so influential now. But ultimately, it's really just coming down to a fundamental shift in how labor is even going to be considered. We're going to see 40 to 50% of overall jobs fall to artificial intelligence in the coming 15 years. I really have zero doubt on that. And so how are we supposed to judge the economy and how strong the economy is when for the next 15 years, we're most likely going to see falling job numbers? That's bad. It really does create a very, 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 we're watching history unfold. Trump announced the U.S. has completed a reset with China. Hey, I need that article, Yukon. I need that article for certain. Very curious what he's exactly referencing. Shannon Martin, Zester question. Upcoming ETF, thinking about changing my chain link to Solana as it hit an all-time high today. What do you think? Should I just relax and hold on to my XRP and Chainlink? Oh, Shannon, actually, I had a Chainlink article to discuss today, I believe. Let's see if I can find it. Polymarket partners with Chainlink to improve market resolution accuracy. Polymarket, a Polygon-based prediction platform. Yeah, these became very famous back during the election. Polymarket was one of the different prediction platforms where you could bet essentially on who was going to win the presidency. It ended up becoming very famous because it was accurate nearly to the T when everything ended up finally shaking out and all the numbers came back. Polymarket ended up being pretty much exactly on. And so it became very famous for that. But Polymarket partnering up with decentralized Oracle network Chainlink. I specifically had this story up because these are the things I thought this was another great example. And I very often use Chainlink for this. This is a great example of the things to look for when you're looking at a project, when you're looking at a cryptocurrency and really looking at a company that is offering a crypto, because Chainlink is a company. These are the things that you look for. What are they doing? Are they making partnerships? How important is their service? Chainlink's service is literally so important, you cannot do your business without them. And so that's one of the reasons I always talk about Chainlink and use it really as a reference point. It's not specifically because of Chainlink. It's because they're an amazing example of what you should be looking for from a crypto company, from an enterprise. They are providing something that is genuinely irreplaceable. And so overall, though, getting back to that question, Shannon, because it just made me think of that article, with the upcoming ETFs, Solana does have one of the largest amounts of upcoming ETFs. Solana and XRP are the ones that, of the current 90-some ETFs set for approval by the SEC, Solana and XRP have the largest amounts. I believe it's like 9 or 10 each of current ETF applications. And so there is the expectation that you're going to see a lot of ETFs coming out in the near future for Solana and also for XRP. And Shannon, I would always say there is nothing wrong with rebalancing your overall portfolio. Absolutely not. On a regular occurrence, it's considered to be a very, very good and conservative idea with your investments to rebalance the portfolio in order to take potentially a little bit less risk on. Shannon, specifically, though, on switching from Chainlink to Solana, Shannon, I really can't provide much of an advice on that one because, well, I hold both, and I would not be probably personally shifting away from Chainlink right now because of everything going on in terms of Chainlink. Chainlink also has ETFs that are set for approval, not near as many as Solana, but they still have ETFs set for approval. And it will honestly be a watershed moment when Chainlink's ETF is actually launched because it will be one of the first ETF that is actually for a token, not for a cryptocurrency coin. And so Bitcoin is a coin. It's the native currency of the Bitcoin network. Ethereum is a coin. It's the native token of the Ethereum blockchain. Solana is, once again, a coin. The Solana coin, it's the native currency of the Solana blockchain. Chainlink is different. Chainlink is a token built on the Ethereum blockchain. It is a token. It is not a coin. And so it's actually going to be a fairly monumental moment. Dogecoin is a coin. Doge is the native cryptocurrency of the Dogecoin blockchain. And so in that regard, it is very, very exciting what's currently coming up with Chainlink. So Shannon, I absolutely think that there's a lot of future for Solana. And so in no way am I poo-pooing Solana. I wish I had more Solana than I do. But I would say there is a lot of exciting stuff coming out really on both sides. So it's kind of hard to pick. That's like asking me to pick, between my two favorite ice creams. Which one do I want? Well, Monday, I might want one. Tuesday, I might want the other. I love them both. I hope that helped, Shannon. Sorry to not give you more of a cut and dry. It's tough it really is tough on those when you're looking at ones that are extremely, extremely strong projects. And those are both extremely strong projects. Crazy Chester, stagflation/inflation. Did the same thing happen when manufacturing started using robots in the factories? Well, honestly, we very, very much we could make that correlation on this one, Crazy Chester, because if we do look back to the 1970s and the supply shock that occurred on account of the OPEC embargo, it was also during a time of massive automation in terms of manufacturing and industries. And so we can also look back to it as a turning point in regards to that, where we were moving more and more away from factory work. So I think, yeah, there probably could be a very, very easy correlation drawn there, Crazy Chester. I think that would be an interesting one to do a deep dive on. Might be able to draw some extreme parallels. Might be able to. That's a great point, Crazy Chester. Michelle, Zester, in your opinion, if you had an extra $100 to invest, where would you invest it? XRP, silver, Pax Gold, or something else? Michelle, that's a very, very, very tough question. I wish I had. First of all, I wish I had that extra $100 to invest. I would have to say, Michelle, for me, it would probably be more a matter of filling in holes. And so less so would it be that I would think I would want to stack more of something. I would probably look at it more of what am I kind of lacking in at the moment. And so for me personally, I would probably get some silver. I would probably get some silver just because if I were to look at the breakdown of what I have, I've got more crypto than I do precious metals. And so in the same way that you would kind of look in the case of like Shannon, of the idea of, maybe I should realign my portfolio. Maybe I should rebalance my portfolio. I think right now, Michelle, that would be more where I would be at. I would be trying to fill in holes more so than stack more crypto at the moment because, well, I'm very crypto heavy. If it were the opposite situation and I were very, 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 silver heavy, I would be leaning towards more XRP, Chainlink, or maybe even going and maybe getting into some of the new projects that are currently popping up in the cryptocurrency space. That would probably be more where I would lean towards if it weren't for my current situation. I'm looking at it through that strategic mindset of, well, I got an extra $100. I am already very heavily portfolio wise. I'm already far too high of a percentage of my portfolio is in the form of cryptocurrency. I would probably stack a little bit of extra silver around the house, Michelle. Just me personally at the moment. Hey, what's up, Speed Racer? Good morning, Speed Racer. Hello, all from Central Florida. 81 degrees and sunny. That is not too bad. Well, it's Florida, though. How humid is it? How humid is it? Because that 81 might be really, really pleasant, or it might feel like a 1,000-degree oven. All right, let's jump back over. I have got a few more articles that I did want to make certain to share with everybody. Stable coins have hit $300 billion in terms of overall market value. Total value locked in the form of stable coins has hit $300 billion. The reason that this number is, well, of course, that's a lot of money. It's particularly impressive. But the reason that this is even more so impressive is that this is a 50% increase in the total money locked into stable coins in a matter of just 9 months. And so at the very end of 2024, the numbers were around $200 billion of value was locked in the form of stable coins. Now, just as a reminder, when I talk about stable coins, we are talking about anything that is pegged to a real world asset. Stable coins are things that are pegged to real world assets, like the US dollar. At least, well, I would argue against that, but that's the best way of looking at it, the easiest way of defining it. It would also include like Pax Gold, which is pegged to gold. And so that would be a stable coin that is pegged to a gold ounce. Similar idea, they're tokenized assets. And so in that regard, this would be, like USDC, $72 billion total market cap. It'd be like Tether, $169 billion market cap. And so you could see a large portion of that $300 billion is sitting in the form of USDC and Tether, with Tether really, really leading the pack. Over half of the entire stablecoin market is controlled by USDT. But this is a 50% increase in a matter of just 9 months. An incredibly, incredibly large increase, and not unexpected. This is what we were predicting. This is what we were saying would happen with the overall push of the Genius Act. And with the Trump presidency, stablecoins and real world tokenized assets were going to start to explode. If they can do 50% in a matter of 9 months, and we start to look at these price predictions, these expectations for 2030 in terms of real world tokenized assets in the markets, we can see that we are on pace for a multi-trillion-dollar market. In just the coming years, we are on pace for a multi-trillion-dollar market. Ooh. Sorry about that, guys. I hope I managed to mute before I sneezed into the mic. All right. Shannon, get your one-on-one up. I'm happy to support you there. Some extra bucks. Hey, there we go, Shannon. There we go. Sounds good. I will. With everything with the ankle, the travel, and everything else, I've got to get that done and off and running. I have got to. Deborah Muse Wolf. I remember when that used to be the total cryptocurrency market cap. LOL. Deborah Muse Wolf, absolutely. It seems like it was so long ago, but in all honesty, it really wasn't. When we look, and so up here on CoinGecko, you can actually click on the market cap right here. This is the market cap for the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem, all cryptos that it at least has data for. And so, yeah, when you really do and you look at it, and so we're on a max timeline. And so, we go all the way back to 2020, August 14th of 2020. The entire cryptocurrency market cap was $377 billion. And, go back to just April of 2020, it was $264 billion. And so in just a matter of 5 years, the entire cryptocurrency market itself is now, it's now smaller than just the market of stablecoins themselves. All right. Michelle, the only thing I'm sure of is silver, which is what I'm most invested in. That's, I think, a great way of looking at it. Diversify. Crazy Chester. Michelle, nothing wrong with that. Make sure to buy bullion. You don't need graded ones. Crazy Chester, that has always been a crazy thing to me. I have always been only bullion. I just don't get it. If I find a cool coin that is silver, that is, a 1913, whatever, I mean, I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to keep it separate, and it's really cool. But if I'm going to buy silver, I'm going to buy precious metals. I have never understood the whole deal there. For me, it's just, hey, I want whatever one's going to sell me the most silver for the cheapest price. I don't care what you stamped on it. As long as it's silver, that's what I'm buying. I've never gotten that one. I've never gotten it. I don't know. Maybe someone can explain that one to me a bit more. And I definitely, I'm one of those people that likes to collect crap. I'm definitely a magpie, but I've never had that push when it came to buying silver. Just it never even came across my mind. I picked whichever one was cheapest. Musical lady's a silver bullion lady. More silver heavy right now than crypto. Hey, I don't think that's a bad thing at all. We're watching, essentially, crypto and precious metals are on a crash course for each other. We're going to end up in the same place, essentially. We may be on different trains, in terms of crypto and precious metals, but ultimately the tracks cross. We're headed in the same direction. Musical lady Andy said the graded ones are lipstick on a pig. Yeah. Doesn't matter how much makeup you have, a pig's still a pig. Captain Spiffy. Good morning, Captain Spiffy. Captain Spiffy, number 27 on the like button. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for joining us, Captain. But yeah, that's crazy to think about how far the market has come in such a short amount of time. From a matter of, absolutely nothing. Let's go all the way back to April of 2013. The entire cryptocurrency market had an overall market value of $1,661 billion. So just a matter of 12 years ago. And now we're sitting today at over $4 trillion of market value in cryptocurrency. That is absolutely crazy to imagine. And to think throughout this whole process, how many times we were told that it was all going to go away and that it all meant nothing and it was stupid and silly and a scam and everything else. And well, for the past 12 years, people have continued to say that and spew that. And yet, that is quite the percentage increase for the overall market. That is for certain. All right, going to our other articles for the day. Don't think I have too many more that I really wanted to make certain to hit. And yes, no, absolutely, James. Please do get it started one-on-one. Absolutely. I need to get it off and rolling. I absolutely do. Absolutely do. Going to try to get on that one now that ankles, well, it's still pretty messed up, but I need to get back to concentrated. Been getting distracted far too much. Winklevoss founded Gemini prices IPO at $28 per share, valuing the crypto exchange at $3.3 billion. And so back on Wednesday, guys, I had referenced the Gemini IPO because remember the NASDAQ, the stock exchange, invested $50 million into Gemini's IPO. And so the NASDAQ investing in their replacement, I guess ensuring no matter what, they continue to make money going into the future. And during that, I had talked about, and someone had asked, well, are retail investors allowed to participate? And I said no, because I was under the belief that it was entirely a private IPO, initial public offering that was private, which is particularly funny, but that tends to be how most of them end up working out. And I was actually wrong on that. And so there is actually the ability, and they have secured and saved a certain portion of the amount of stocks in order to actually be offered to retail investors through Robinhood, SoFi, Hong Kong-based Futu Security, Singapore's Moomoo Financial, Webull, and other platforms. And so actually, they have allowed for and put up 30% of the shares offered will be reserved for retail investors. And so I wanted to issue a correction on that one, essentially, because someone had asked about that on Wednesday, and I just assumed that there was not going to be a retail option, and well, turns out there is a retail option. And so, yes, Gemini stock will trade under the NASDAQ, on the NASDAQ under ticker symbol Gemmy, G-E-M-I. So yes, now expectations for it were to be $17 to $19 a piece. That ended up getting ramped up to $24 to $26, which values the company at $3.3 billion. This one's an interesting one. Remember the Winklevoss twins? I am definitely quite the admirer of the general intelligence of the Winklevoss twins. Don't know if this one is is something I'm interested in. I tend to avoid anything in the stock market. Last time I messed around with the stock market was back during the GameStop insanity and all of that, and so I tend to try to avoid it. But this one honestly made me want to go ahead and see get my Robinhood account back to set up, because this one is somewhat interesting. It is somewhat interesting. I don't know what everyone else thinks. Anybody else that's something that's of interest? Coinbase. I know that Coinbase, when it was going public, and it was about to start publicly trading, that was really the last time that that I had put a lot of interest or a lot of thought into to starting to buy some stock shares. And well, the Coinbase stock release did not go particularly well, and folks ended up massively overpaying for shares of Coinbase stock. And so I'm quite curious how that's going to work out for this one in terms of Gemini. Is it end up being the same idea where it was where it was something to avoid, or does it go a different direction under the administration of the Winklevosses? I'm not certain. I'm not certain. But if anything, I figured everybody should be aware of the fact that it is a possibility. It is a possibility. All right. Yeah, my eye, Trish. I tend to have a very prepper mindset, so I have lots of junk silver, which is all coin. Yeah, absolutely. Michelle, I have some crypto, but I need a Crypto for Dummies book. Zester plays in the deep end of the pool, and I'm still getting my toes wet. Michelle, at some point, if there's ever time and everything else, I probably should try to put together a book, maybe an ebook style version, with little diagrams and etc. I don't think that they'll let me use the word Crypto for Dummies because I think I'll probably get hit with a cease and desist. But at some point, if I did have the time, and if I do at some point, I would really like to do that. I would really like to do that. Talk to some of our authors in the community and get some help on that front, maybe. Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome. Stuff like that I love. My electricity. I have some old family piggy banks that are from the 50s. Still haven't opened to see what's inside. One day though will be fun. Yeah, that would be too much. I love stuff like that. I absolutely love stuff like that, especially when you're also getting that family history lesson at the same time. So cool. So very, very cool. All right, though, guys. All right. Think that kind of brings us a bit to a close for the day, although I do have one or two more articles, more a little bit around things outside of the crypto space, but this one popped up over on Zero Hedge today. Game changer, BlackRock weighs ETF tokenization as JP Morgan flags industry shift. BlackRock is reportedly exploring tokenized ETFs after Bitcoin fund success as Wall Street giants tout tokenization as a game changer for finance. It is spreading and spreading and spreading. It is scary to see the BlackRocks of the world taking so much control, but it is somewhat expected. But we do. This one is on the Four Horsemen of the Western Apocalypse. This is not one that has anything to do exactly with cryptocurrency, but we do live in an incredibly insane time, and we are facing a large amount of existential crises. I just wanted to post this one really just for folks to go through and read. I think if I go through and read it, unfortunately, on air, I don't know if I'll have a channel to talk about crypto going into the future because it really does address some of the core issues. And many of the authoritarian censors that run a lot of the tech companies do not like when facts like that are presented because, they're unfortunately true and they just don't like them. So that article is in the chat for anyone to check out if they'd like. Crazy Chester, call it Zester's Crypto Zingers. Hey, that one's got a pretty good ring to it. All right, though, guys. All right. With that one, I'm going to go ahead and run off for the day. Let everyone get to enjoying, hopefully, a great weekend and a great Friday. I know I'm probably going to go back to being incredibly concentrated on seeing what's going on in the world. Maybe though, with them finally catching the guy maybe that will start to let a lot of us take a little bit of a break from the nonstop concentration on the news cycle and seeing all the insanity coming from the left. Maybe this will calm things down. I'm not certain if it will or won't, but I hope so. I hope everybody manages to break away from the computer screen, break away from the social media and everything else this weekend, and spend some time with family. Because, well, if anything this week has taught us is that we need to make certain to appreciate the family while we have them. And so I hope that everyone gets a little bit of a break from all of it. I'm hoping to get a break from it myself this weekend and try to tune out, try to do something fun, try to not think about how crazy and how cruel our world can be. And so, love you guys. Thank you so much for joining. I will see you guys Monday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love you guys. Bye.